Hi, I'm Sean Giambrone. I play Adam on the Goldbergs, and you're listening to the Man Cave Chronicles.
Welcome to another episode of the Man Cave Chronicles.
Welcome to the party, pal!
You're my boy, Blue!
Yo, Adrian!
A podcast with interviews of amazing guests from the world of pop culture.
Oh, yeah!
TV.
Nice!
Movies.
Oh, I love the movies!
Comedy and more. From deep inside the Man Cave. Your host, Elias.
Sean, welcome to the cave.
Hey, Elias. Thanks for having me.
So what's new with
Excited to be here.
what's new with you?
Well, honestly, we finished the season, we finished filming the season of the Goldbergs, so now I'm kind of just having like a summer.
Yeah, there you go. So, like I said, the listeners know you from as Adam Goldberg from the Goldbergs, and we'll talk about that. But let's get to know the real you. Where are you originally from?
Originally from a suburb of Chicago, Park Ridge.
All right. How was it growing up there?
Oh, it was awesome. I still get to go back, usually in the summer, but this year we still haven't got it figured out. But it's one of those cool places with like a large community feel to it. So we had like a lot of sports and knew all the parents there, and there's a great Dairy Queen, and just kind of one of those cool places. It just feels really nice to be there.
Yeah. Is it a small town that you live outside of Chicago?
Nah, it's kind of, I guess you could say that, but there's like an L. It's pretty. I don't know. I guess it is kind of, it has a small town feel to it. A lot of parks.
Yeah. What were you into as a kid growing up there?
Well, honestly, I was into drawing, and I did a lot of art classes. I was into soccer. Did that since I was in preschool, but I'm not good enough, so I don't like to admit that. But I'm not I played since I was in preschool, but it doesn't really show. And then I played basketball, and baseball. So I did like the sport thing, and then also drawing.
Yeah. So you started acting at the age of 9. How did you know you wanted to get into acting?
Well, that's honestly because I didn't really pursue any of those other hobbies that much, and my parents were saying, "Hey, let's try and find something you're passionate about." And I always would kind of goof around the house, and my brother and I would make movies similar to Adam Goldberg, actually. So they were saying, "Hey, how about you try acting and performing that way?" So I gave it a go, and I started doing commercials and stuff, and I started to really just love it.
Yeah. Did you enjoy doing commercials?
Yeah, it was fun. My biggest commercial was SeaWorld, and we'd film them in the wintertime, and so for 2 years I'd spend like a week just in Florida, and that just felt really cool.
Yeah. Well, that was interesting. So was that your favorite commercial you think? Because I know you did McDonald's commercials, you did some Friendly's commercials. Which one was your favorite commercial that you did?
Well, with the McDonald's one, I thought was a lot of fun because they were doing some like stop motion. I was holding cards and they were pretending I was doing magic. But it was just all stop motion. I've never really seen stop motion done before. So that was really cool. And, but SeaWorld was probably my favorite just because, I did a couple of them. So I had more memories with them.
Yeah. Do you remember what you did in the commercial?
Yeah, it was almost, I did like a captain's log where my family just went to SeaWorld, and then at the end of the night, I would do a recorded message on my phone or something, be talking about our day there, and I'd use a bunch of big adjectives to describe how it was, and but then they'd also intercut shots of me just with the family dancing and riding rides.
Oh, wow.
But that was actually one of my big regrets when I was younger. Is I wimped out and I didn't go on the big roller coaster to film it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you
I don't know what I was.
Do you do roller coasters now? Do you enjoy them now?
Yeah, I do them now, and I did them then, but I just wimped out. It was such a bummer.
I think, well, when we were all kids, there was one of those fears maybe that you just didn't want to do it back then, but now it's like it's a piece of cake just going on those rides.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've also done some voiceover work. Tell us how did you get into that?
That was actually my first like scripted thing was Clarence on Cartoon Network. I've always watched cartoons throughout my whole childhood, and so I auditioned for one, and it was Clarence, and it actually brought me out to Los Angeles, and that led to the Goldbergs. It was kind of crazy.
Oh wow! So what were some of your favorite cartoons? You said you loved watching cartoons. What were some of your favorite ones?
Well, honestly, it was Ed, Edd and Eddy, SpongeBob, Kim Possible, which was crazy because I got to be a part of that project, and so that was cool. But so that one, but I'm trying to think. Oh, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Okay.
Are you a big cartoon guy? Like, did you have any that you liked?
I grew up in the '80s, so yeah, I was like, the whole, G.I. Joe and like Transformers, Tom and Jerry, like all those cartoons. Even now, I have kids now, and I try to get them to watch the old stuff too, if possible, if they can get into it.
Yeah, Tom and Jerry. I forgot about that. I have an older brother, and we'd spend a lot of time watching Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, even like the Looney Tunes. Those were fun cartoons back then.
Yeah, they're solid. I still say they hold up big time. They were such masters making that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. My dad is 75 years old. He'll still watch those with my kids. So that's
so cool.
So that's how that's what I say. Like they're just cool cartoons from back in the day. So you mentioned Kim Possible. How was it filming the Disney's live action of that?
Yeah, it was cool. I wasn't. Yeah, we just went up to Canada for the summer, and then my co-stars on that just were really cool people, and we still hang out now that it's been a year, and just saw them recently. It was just like a lot of fun, and jumped away from explosions, and had to pretend to be holding a CGI mole rat. And it was just cool. It was a fun experience.
How did you prepare yourself? For the role? Did you go back and watch all the Kim Possible cartoons and?
Yeah, pretty much. I just tried to see how much I could watch before we started filming, because it had been a little bit since I'd watched an episode. But yeah.
Did you do you think there's going to be a chance for a sequel or a possible new series? Have you heard anything?
I haven't heard anything. But I guess there's always a chance, which would be fun.
Yeah. So how did you? Now you mentioned the part of that voiceover was brought you to the Goldbergs. How did that happen?
It was crazy because the whole Clarence thing blew my mind. Because when I started acting, I was getting used to the commercials and stuff, and I knew other people that kind of had been in commercials, and I didn't really think it was going to take off to another level. And then I got in a cartoon, and what happened was they needed me to be out here in California to do the recordings.
Okay.
So I was, so I just flew out a couple times, and was in the Cartoon Network building, and saw they have a bunch of the. I forget what the cells or the animation cells from all the really cool shows, like Dexter's Laboratory and stuff. So that was cool. And the group there, they've all done crazy stuff. And but then what brought me out here is so I came out here for the cartoon, and then there was an audition for Goldbergs while I was out here for doing my recording session, and then it just kind of. That week, I think they wanted to film the pilot the next week, so they were really kind of in a mode to pick someone, and I guess I was there, and then I was supposed to fly out on Friday, but then I ended up doing my second audition then, and then they said, you can't leave, you got to stay tomorrow, and then we signed the papers and everything, and then that Monday we started filming. But, and in between, on Sunday, I did a basketball game. Because I was like, what is going on? I got to do something normal because this is crazy. Yeah. So I went home and did a basketball game. I think we lost, but yeah.
How old were you during the audition?
I was 13.
Wow. Wow. So tell us about the audition. Tell us about the first time you walked in there for Goldbergs.
Well, I don't know. It lined up perfectly that I was in a really goofy mood because and I think the people in there, it was, I think it was Seth Gordon, Doug Robinson. Oh, Seth Gordon, who was the director of the episode, or like, who was the director that sets the mood for the whole show, and then Doug Robinson, and then Adam Goldberg and Leslie Litt, I think, was there too, and they're just like, even now that it's been a couple years working with them, they're just really they're able to settle you down. So when I was in a goofy mood, they just kind of encouraged it, and they started laughing. And I'd never been in an audition where people actually were like laughing or let themselves laugh. So we were goofing around, and I think I threw my script at one point, and and then I think one of them said a swear word, and then I was like, oh, this is just too fun, and so then we went off, and I just like left the room, and my mom was like, they were pretty loud in there. That sounded like it went well. I'm like, I don't know what I just did, and then we drove away, and I was like, I think that went really well, and that was.
Did you?
Yeah, and that was like an hour of craziness.
When you were in that room, did you know that you were auditioning for Adam, which he was in the same room?
Well, yeah, I did, and I was trying to scope him out because I was like, he's probably going to be there. And then he was like sitting there, and I was like, okay, now I got to really make sure I'm doing something right. And during the auditions, they sent I think the test tape that they sent to the network before to like sell the pilot, and it was just all the clips that Adam comprised together to sell and show all the characters. And so I was really trying to get the laugh down. That was the one thing through watching the things. I was thinking, I'm pretty similar. I feel like my personality is similar to Adam's. So if I could just get that laugh down, maybe that could be a selling thing. But I never got it down. He's got a really unique laugh that it's contagious. But one of the things I knew it was him because he did the laugh in the room. And I was like, dang.
Now, before the audition, did he like come up to you and offer you any advice to play him, or did you like?
No. Not really, no, because there were a bunch of kids. A bunch of kids were just sitting in the hallway waiting to get called on. So they were just trying to see as many people as they could. So there was really no chance to talk to them. And even when the show started, I was thinking there'd be like a sit down where we talk about, hey, this is really like me. These are the things or do more this than this. But he was really cool about it. And he kind of let me do, I think he felt like we were very similar kids, and that he'll just pick the stuff that's more like him than not, and then kind of wrote towards both of us, which is cool.
How would you describe your character, Adam?
Well, he's the kind of like the nerdy younger brother that one thing is he struggles in knowing how he can grow up and figure out what ways he should grow up, because he loves all his toys and movies, but he doesn't know what's too childish to hold on to in his teen years. And then it's his relationship with his family that he loves, but can grow on his nerves or get on his nerves. And yeah, he's also excitable and very, one thing they would always talk about is his childlike sense of wonder. Yeah. And that was important, I thought.
How similar would you say you are with your character?
Probably very, very similar, just because I think the show's writing also turned towards me too. So it's even closer than, even though Adam and I are very similar, the writing of the show's also leaned towards me too. So it's probably pretty much me. Yeah. Too.
If well, I mean, obviously Adam is real, but if Adam was real while you were growing up, would you be friends with him?
Oh, totally. Because he's just a cool, I think, we like all the same stuff. Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has been my ringtone since forever.
Nice.
And Star Wars has been one of my favorite things. And so I know we've liked the same things. And he's a really funny guy and just just seeing him, just talking to the real guy and seeing the clips, I know he'd be cool. And he knows how to like create, like him and his friends created that Highlander club.
Yep.
That'd be so cool to have.
Now, you mentioned Star Wars and like stuff like that. Like, were you a fan of what other fan of like 80s movies or cartoons were you a fan of?
Well, honestly, randomly before the show, my brother and I did a whole John Hughes marathon. So I loved all the John Hughes movies going in. But there were some things that kind of like skipped my, like I just hadn't seen, like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. I hadn't seen that, and the shows got me to watch that, and I still haven't seen Highlander, the Highlander, which just sounds like it's a good time. But I pretty much like Die Hard, love Die Hard. Yeah, it was a good time. Like there was a lot of like great action movies and big personalities.
Yeah. So when you booked the role, did anybody give you any advice or lessons about like 80s pop culture, or did you go out and just started researching things?
Pretty much, I kind of had the stuff I already knew, and then the writing would be like, okay, you should know this one, but there was a couple of things that just pops up, like songs and artists that I had no idea that they were a thing, and like honestly, that Milli Vanilli, I wasn't familiar with them when I first read that, and how they did that whole scam thing where they weren't singing. And
yeah, that's interesting. So how's it been filming a show that takes place in the 80s?
Well, honestly, it's been fun because I get nostalgic towards a time period that I had like no connection to otherwise.
That's interesting.
It's like I watched a video. There's a Jackson Brown video that shows clips from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
It was like that was just a cool time period, and made me want to go back to get back in it.
And you get to. It's funny because you record and you get to live like you were in the 80s, which is kind of cool. Like, so when you get older, you get to talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite scene or episode so far that you've filmed?
Honestly, there was a lot of, especially because it was so new, there was a lot of like really memorable things that happened in that first season. Like when Pops falls down and Adam drags him on a piece of rug. It just was the craziest thing when I read that. I was like, am I actually going to be pulling George on the floor? And I did. That was memorable. But then also doing the whole Goonies thing, that was a movie I really liked. And having all these kids with me we're all on bikes and doing the whole 80s bike thing, that was just fun.
Yeah. Well, a couple of my favorite ones have been when you guys had the Breakfast Club and then the Karate Kid.
Oh, yeah. That Karate Kid was nuts. We had the sensei guy, and then we did the whole showdown at the end, and Barry sweeps the leg.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. Martin Kove was on that episode. You guys yes.
And now he's on Cobra Kai again, I hear. But, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. So I gotta ask, how fun is it saying balls on almost every episode?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I never used it like that before the show, but now it's kind of I accidentally say it now. Yeah, it's what a catchphrase. I wouldn't have guessed.
Do you have fans coming up to you and asking you to say it?
Yeah, if they don't have if they have a family member that's not there, they'll ask me to record a video of just saying balls to them, and then they'll send it off to them.
So, have you heard the real Adam say that at all?
No, I don't think I've ever caught him. No, I've never heard him say balls before.
That's hilarious. So how is it working with the cast of the Goldbergs? I mean, you've got a great cast all around. Like, it feels like when I watch a show with my wife, it's like so family style, and it's like you guys have to be close, I assume.
Oh, yeah, super close. Well, during the they're just both Jeff and Wendy, they kind of got it started with getting us all super close in that first season, and they're just, because they're so funny and they're really endearing, and they like get to know you pretty fast. So, yeah, they just kind of got everyone really loose at the start, and now a couple this many seasons in, we're just kind of like super close and missing each other during the summer. We just saw each other for the first time since the end of the season, like this past week, and it was like a huge kind of almost party. Just even though it wasn't a party setting, it was just kind of like a celebration to see everybody. But they're just unreal, like how funny they are. And I remember watching Troy in his movies when he was younger, and then when I found out that was the same, like that was Young Jack Black and Nacho Libre and stuff, like that was cool. And
So
and they're just
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, all you.
No, I was going to ask you, like, has like Wendy or Jeff or even George given you advice about the acting world?
Yeah, they have. And George, I think during the pilot, we had this scene where we were filming outside of Hooters, and we just sat in our cast chairs and started really just talking. And I had only known him for a week or so, or not even. I don't think we were both on all the scenes together, but he just was giving me tips on stuff. And one huge thing is to look at the inside eye towards the camera. That was just a little thing that I just never would have picked up on, but so you can see your eyes more. And,
oh wow!
Yeah,
it's go ahead.
They do that kind of stuff. It's just kind of cool.
And it's good, like, to get advice because they've been in the business longer than you have, and it's always good to get pointers from people that've been in the business for so long.
Yeah, definitely. Like George, our script supervisor told me to watch him how he does continuity, because that's the script supervisor's job, to do that. Watch for, it's to like help the editors make it easier by matching the same actions for each of the takes. But George is he's the master of it, because he'll always like put his glasses on at the same word, so they don't have to worry about any of the takes not working because of his glasses being on or off at different points. And he always uses his props to emphasize things, and those eyeballs, they can just cut to him and it'll just raise his eye, like show his eyes more, and it just means something. It's cool.
Yeah. I mean, in all the scenes that you film with George too, it's like he must feel like a kid again when he's with you.
Oh yeah, well, I think even when he's not with me, he's just this really youthful guy.
Yeah.
He plays that banjo and stuff, and I know when it's the three kids and him, he really starts goofing around. I think he kind of just gets sucked into the more. Yeah.
So how would you describe the relationship like between you, like Troy and Haley and you?
Well, it's kind of a family thing where they kind of trying to think. We're super close. We goof around, and I got to think about that, but it's kind of just like, I guess what you'd expect. It's just kind of a jovial, really casual thing where you can just like, you can say anything to them and they'll just like kind of know where you're coming from. You can almost like speak your own language with them. It's cool.
That's great. So what's the funniest like set story you have from the Goldbergs that's happened?
Well, one thing I felt awful about, but we were having a huge snowball fight during the snowed in episode, and the snowballs are just like mashed potatoes or something like that. And I whipped it and I hit Jeff right in the privates, and he wasn't sure. I was like, I knew something like that would happen. I knew it would be me, but that was nuts, because then like he needed to like take a time out after that, just 'cause, like, anybody would. I'm trying to think of whenever Uncle Marvin comes, there's always like what Dan Fogler does, like the takes that don't get used, or just are just gold because he acts with his whole body. Like he was kind of almost grinding the sound. Like I don't know, that doesn't make sense. If you'd have to see it, but it just whenever he's on set, it's like
Yeah.
he has like a whole new flavor.
He's funny, especially like when he came dressed up like the Miami Vice, and even just the other ones. Even in the Karate Kid one, he was the sensei.
Yeah, he shows up. He goes like full Miyagi,
Yeah.
and he always comes up with a new style, and he always has a new car like that breaks. We did a Die Hard episode with him, and he went full Bruce Willis.
Yep. I agree with that. So, other than the Goldbergs now, like in the acting world, do you have any like influences that you look up to? A certain actor?
And not including the Goldberg actors.
Well, I guess both. If you had to pick one of each.
Well, yeah, I guess I gotta say. Well, I could just say like the Goldberg actors are definitely one of them, just because getting to be close to him and all that. But
Yeah.
I've always like really enjoyed Jason Bateman and his
he's
acting.
awesome. He's awesome.
Oh yeah, he's been doing it forever. I don't totally have a similar style to him, but just to watch what he does and try and figure out how he does it, and then Ryan Gosling, like all his, like he just has like such a variety of movies that he does that he's one I like to watch.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
So-
so probably those two.
If you weren't an actor right now, what do you think you'd be doing?
I was thinking about that because it's always tempting to take some courses during the summer to get that started, but I got nothing. I think right now I've just been so focused on acting and trying to add to that I really haven't given much thought to another career.
Yeah. So, do you have like a dream role that you want to play someday?
Honestly, I've always been a sucker for cowboy movies.
Okay.
So I would have to say, like, playing some form of cowboy would just be really fun.
That's interesting. I was waiting for you to say, like, a superhero movie or something.
I do. Well, I'm a comic book fan, so that'd be fun. But just watching, like, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and all the Clint Eastwood movies,
Yes.
like, that's just cool. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, something about that.
What's your favorite Clint Eastwood movie?
It would have to be... the first one we watched was The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, so
Yeah. That's a
it's
good
kind of
one.
hard to not say that one, but I want to say something other than that because that just seems too straightforward, but I'll just stick with it. I'll
Yeah.
say The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Yeah.
Just because you can play the theme music and feel like I'm...
Exactly. Plus, like you said, it's a popular movie. It's been used. Back to Future 3 kind of took a little bit from it. And
Yeah.
so
Who you're calling yellow.
Exactly. So, what are some of your favorite movies and TV shows that you like to binge when you're not working?
I go into random spurts of shows. Well, like I had a couple cartoon auditions that recently, so I was watching a lot of cartoons, and so I was watching SpongeBob again. But I also go into we've been watching Game of Thrones.
Okay.
That's definitely been. I watch it with my grandma and stuff. Like, it was kind of weird in some of the earlier seasons, but now we're like used to it, I guess. But so watch that, Breaking Bad, because I really missed a lot of those big kind of shows that you hear about. But Arrested Development, Malcolm in the Middle, and that '70s show
Nice.
were two of my favorites that I went through all the seasons.
Yeah.
But,
So, when you're not working and you're not watching TV, what do you enjoy doing? What do you like doing on your time off?
well, I just got that Masterclass app. Have you heard about that?
I think Masterclass.
Yeah, Masterclass.
I've heard of it. Is that where you could do like certain classes for like comedy or acting? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and like I kept seeing it advertised, so I just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. But they also have like basketball ones, like by Steph Curry, and So
Really?
I've been going through a bunch of those random classes. My basketball, I always get blocked because I think I shoot from the chest. But so I've been working on that, trying to figure out how to not get blocked. I bought a guitar and I'm trying to learn guitar. And yeah, I've just kind of been trying to acquire new skills because I guess why not?
Why not? Why not? It's always good to learn something new.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. I like to draw too, but that's kind of on the wayside for guitar and basketball right now.
Well, you mentioned comics. Do you like to draw? When you draw, do you draw like comics?
No, I usually draw cartoons.
Okay.
I just like a couple panels of seeing what I can make, and in the past I made some superheroes and created their superpowers and stuff. And
okay, what are some of your favorite?
Cool.
You mentioned comics, so what's some of your favorite comics that you enjoy reading now?
Well, honestly, I got stuck on Batman for the longest time, so mostly Batman. But I just got The Last Man on Earth, or I think that's what it's called, and it's like a graphic novel about this dude that's the last man on Earth. All these tribes of women that are kind of figuring out what they should do with them, and he's kind of running away. And I haven't read it yet, but it sounds intense. So I've been doing that, and I have some Spider-Man, and Jeff, he's actually a huge comic book fan, and he got me started because I was uneducated on my Marvel comics. So he kind of got me some, he got me Thor, and he got me some Thor, and he got me, I guess, some Spider-Man. Yeah.
Nice. Did you get a chance to see the movies yet? The Avengers?
Yeah, I did. Did you?
Yes. So what'd you think of it?
I honestly didn't think I was gonna get emotional, but I got emotional.
Yeah.
I was shaking with excitement, and yeah, it kind of blew me away. I was unsure if they were able to kind of make it. I don't know how they could. It was impressive that they were able to make such a big blowout finale for that run.
Yeah,
that
that's gonna be tough. I can't wait to see what they do next. I know some people are not coming back, but I can't wait to see what's up their sleeve next.
Yeah, that's the true. They did the first this was phase 3, I guess, or I don't know, but they did that so well. What do they? How do they have to start completely new now, or?
I think so.
Not completely. I guess they have their characters, but
yeah, I don't know. So, is there any upcoming projects that you want to tell the fans about?
Yeah, I got this animated show on Hulu called Solar Opposites. And it's written by Justin Roiland and Mike McMahon. And it's this, it's like my most adult thing I've ever been a part of. And I'm like an alien, and we are on Earth, and I'm kind of a teenage alien named Yumulak. And we've done some episodes now, and it's just a lot of fun, and it's got dark humor and swearing and the whole gamut. So it's cool.
Yeah. When is that going to premiere, or is it already out?
I think 2020.
Okay.
That's sometime in 2020. I'm not sure.
Do you what do you enjoy more, live action acting, or do you like a voiceover better?
Honestly, I'm down the middle because they feel totally different. It feels like the difference between two sports almost.
Okay.
We're just different kind of and you feel kind of free. You feel free in voiceover to go kind of anywhere with your voice, but then you feel free that you don't have to use only your voice with the acting. But yeah, they're cool.
Yeah. And lastly, how can the listeners find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and all those just with my name, Sean Giambrone.
All right.
So they can just find me there, I guess.
Yeah. Which one do you enjoy the most for social media?
Honestly, it's been kind of hard to get into it totally. The fans kind of keep me coming back because it's kind of cool to hear what they think of the projects and everything. But the overall feel of it is, not totally like my thing, but I guess Twitter sometimes can get interesting just to see what's trending and seeing what everyone's got to say. So probably Twitter.
All right, Sean. Thank you for coming on. This was fun.
Hey, yeah, nice talking to you. Thanks for having me.
I know they weren't the best of times. I didn't pass the test to know my lines, but it wouldn't change a thing, 'cause all those days were mine. So we'll rewind. There's a Polaroid picture in my mind. It's me at 12 years old, and I want to tell that kid that he's alright. These are the best years of his life. There's an 8-bit game inside my head. Just one more hit and I'll be dead. I duck and jump and charge ahead, and I never lose, I just reset. I'm twisted up inside, but nonetheless I feel the need to stay. I don't know the future, but the past keeps getting clearer every day. I know they weren't the best